everybody, just doing a little bit of a table update today. Yeah, I haven't done too much of that lately, and if you guys are on the Must Have Wargamers Facebook page, you may have seen this already, but this is just my Black Widow from Marvel Crisis Protocol. Not doing a fancy turnaround today, just doing a little bit of a quick update. I am kind of interested in seeing the movie for this. I'm actually quite excited for that. Not sure when that'll happen with current theaters and the way things are happening, but yeah, excited to see that. I did go for a bit of a grayscale on the blacks for this, and I could have went with blue, like a bluish black look too, but I didn't. And then the last one I have for the core set, I have done some outside of the core set, but the last model that I have for the core set is now Captain Marvel. And so this is hard to see on the white background that I have here, but I had the white background up because I found it hard to see on the black background, the black model. Thought that this was a little easier. So yeah, so that's all I've got going on with that stuff. So this is the last model I have of the core set. I do have some other models. I'm not going to quite get to them right away, but I actually have this other project that we have announced on the show as well, and that is the Must See Wargamers Old Hammer Challenge that we do on average about twice a year. And so I have my Beastmen army that I'm working on still, and so I have some Chaos Hounds that will give me a bit of a fast attack or a fast cav kind of, I believe. I don't mean that in the literal sense of the way they're classified. I believe that they're light cavalry style unit, but don't hold me to that. And everybody loves like a big model. I have the, I believe, 6th edition Chaos Giant, Orcs and Goblins Giant. They kind of marketed this for both. And I've been puttying these guys up. Today I'm actually going to get some stuff on the bases. Just putty that up and get it ready and start getting it ready for priming. This isn't on there. This is just a little guy cowering that came with the model when it was originally released. But yeah, I really like this giant. For those of you that have watched the channel for a while, I've painted a number of giants, a lot of old hammer ones, even some of the plastic ones that came later for 7th or 8th edition. I really like this guy. He's not as big, let's say, as the contemporary giant, which I can just grab it here. Or can I? Maybe, maybe not. I have him with my goblins from when I was playing Saga Age of Magic, and he is there. And of course, he's at the base of my tripod here. I'm just trying to do this so I don't nudge my tripod. If you see here, he's quite a bit bigger. Even if I put him next to him here, I'd have to go this way here. A lot of times people like large giants, which this guy is now. You almost can't ever please anybody over time because they're always just going to make a larger one. It's sort of like a zero-sum game. Now they have one that's like higher than this, like above this, to just dwarf this guy. And it's like eventually it's like, why don't you just make a life-size one, and we'll like have to just increase the size of our miniatures and no longer call them miniatures anymore. But basically, this guy is more massive in his shoulders than this guy is. If you actually look at him, he's really a bit of a Hulk for his size, which I think is cool. Because he's gigantic, in a lot of ways. And so I really wanted. I use this guy for a variety of things, and he's a great model. He really is. I mean, they did an amazing job with this plastic model when it came out. And they also made it so you could kind of convert them a bit, to be either looking different and things. But I wanted this guy to sort of match some of my 6th edition stuff, and so I was always on the lookout for him. He's all metal, and so I've epoxied him and things to keep all that together. I did end up having to pin this arm because they're flat sheer surfaces, and even the epoxy just didn't really cure well on it. I ended up pinning and crazy gluing it to hold it in there. And so there's that. And then I would say one of my most desired models. When getting into Beastmen, and I apologize, this is such a bright metal, it's never been painted, so it's really bright. It hasn't oxidized like this one has at all over the years, have been stripped or anything. But this is the Shaggeth, and I'm just going to change my lighting here and see if I can... I'll talk about my lighting in a second too. This is the Shaggeth, and he is just such a weird creature, but he's such a great model. He's so menacing and so weird with like his sort of human and lower body of like a reptile, and not even totally a dragon. I mean, it almost looks, because he's a dragon ogre, the Shaggeth, the dragon ogre, but this almost looks like an insect, you know, to be honest, the way they did this. But he's a really powerful leader choice for the Beastmen. And he's one of the models I look forward to the most is painting up as a special character model. And so I will be spending a little time on him. And so this isn't a huge entry for the Beastmen, but I am going to be spending a bit of time on this model. I kind of thought, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the old painting of Kronos eating Zeus. I kind of looked at it, and I guess my memory of it was very impactful when I actually first saw it as a kid, you know, and looking at art and seeing books on giants and the gods and various things. And I've seen this old painting, and it's just really shocking of him, like, you know, chowing down on his son. Eyes white, you know, like wide and just striking, just really scary kind of looking. I was looking at the skin tones for it, and I think I'm going to try to emulate some of the skin tones and from that classic painting to try to... I'm thinking a lot of people will go green or red, like for the dragon, but I'm thinking I'm going to go more like a brownish tone for the dragon body, either brown or a dark or a gray of some sort, dark gray, and then I'm going to go for skin tones that are not very peachy or reddy, but more kind of like that painting, more in the brown to white scale, I believe. I have to take a look at it again, but I'm trying to achieve that, some of the contrast in that painting, and trying to have a bit more of a darker kind of look to him, and less and cold, like colder in some ways, less warm, you know, in the color pattern, and definitely no greens and reds and stuff. And so I'm going to go for just kind of a particular look, I think. So I've been thinking about it, put it that way. I can't completely elucidate it here, but yeah, so that I'm really excited about. So I'm going to do a review on my lighting, but some of you may have seen Vic's Miniatures, Victor, his video he did on his lighting. And I noticed there are a couple other videos out there where people have gotten this sort of photography lighting, the LED panels that they're using now for their painting on their hobby desks. I will say that I do find that the lighting's a bit cold. I don't have one of the LED panels that has two different temperatures, you know, because you can get them where they have different temperature bulbs in there. This is definitely just a white, and this gets really, really bright. And you actually can get it so it's just really comfortably dim as well. But I'm enjoying it so far. I don't think I could really properly review it yet. I will say that I love the way it lights up my entire hobby table, you know, below it. I mean, I feel like everything is in view. I know a lot of people talk about how having it right above you has eliminates the shadows when you're painting, and I suppose that's true. I mean, it does have also a diffuser on it, and so the diffuser over the LED panel and having it come down from above is going to definitely minimize shadows coming directly down at you. And then, of course, because it's lighting, like literally it's above my entire desk lights, that actually just makes it so everything is lit up when I'm painting. I'm messing around a bit with the photography. Like I took some photos just with my iPhone for Facebook to show on my Wargamer page, and I wasn't that happy with the way the photos were coming out, even though this is like a photography light. But part of that, I think, is me and the way I'm doing it, and the way I'm not taking special care to light up my background differently than my miniature, and like some of that stuff helps. Yeah, so I think that part of that is me, and part of it is like the camera working against me. When I have a lot of automatic settings on, then when you turn something up and like make it brighter, then the camera's like, oh, it looks like I'm gonna make it darker, you know, because it's on autofocus and brightness and all that stuff. And I've never been the best when it comes to photography with all that. I realize it's not incredibly complicated to get a decent picture, but some of us just don't look enough into things, I suppose. So I may have shown this on the channel so far. I think I did. I've got the thing still to paint in addition to Captain Marvel. Those are going to be background projects. Before I get back to historical, speaking of historical, I've watched 2 shows recently. One of them wasn't historical, but I'll start with the one that is. I just started watching Barbarians, and it just so happens that out of the 6 episodes, 2 of them are directed by the director that did Vikings, which was a show I loved. Now, I realize for those of you that are strict historians and care more about authenticity than actual entertainment, you know, that's not to say you can't have both, but I know there is a balance of, you know, entertainment value and storytelling and historical accuracy when you're portraying historical periods on film, television. My suspicion is that Barbarians is very much like Vikings, and that it's like, because it even incorporates, I think, a little bit of cultural components, like, you know, mysticism and things, and, you know, references to it and things for entertainment value and just understanding that perspective of the minds of the people. It's if you liked Vikings, I think you would enjoy it. I enjoyed the first episode and the character development that's happening, and just the scenery and like the costumes and just everything. I just enjoyed it. I don't watch that much ancient stuff, to be honest, and so it's kind of neat for me to see. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode. I'm looking forward to watching the second one. And I did watch, switching gears, Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix, and I saw Haunting of Hill House first, and I really loved Haunting of Hill House. Haunting of Bly Manor was, for those of you that like horror or that kind of stuff, it was interesting. I mean, it had me going in certain episodes where I liked it, but it never really achieved, I think, what Haunting of Hill House did. If you barely liked Haunting of Hill House, I wouldn't watch Haunting of Bly Manor. But if you liked Haunting of Hill House a lot, then you might get a little taste of that. I just wouldn't expect it to be quite as great as that first season was. Yeah, so I hope everybody is doing well. I'll probably do a review on my lighting setup, because I have a rig that's a little bit different than, as far as everything the light's attached to, different than what Victor had, just to kind of fit my table and some stuff I already had going, things I've already purchased in the past for equipment. But I'll do a review on that as I've gotten more painting time and hobbying time underneath that light. And I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying the beginning of your weekend. Talk to you later.